Self-love is actually a mindset of thinking about, I am worthy. I'm worthy of this love. Do you have that mindset that you are worthy of putting yourself first? And when you get to prioritizing yourself, that's the decision. So self-love is the mindset. And actually making the decision, I choose me, prioritizing yourself. And then when you choose yourself, you turn it into self-care. That's the action. So you got the mindset, then you make the decision, and then the action is to actually take care of yourself. Welcome to Journey to Joy Live, a podcast to promote wellness, resilience, and inspire joy. Be empowered to balance your mental, physical, financial, aspirational, and social health while providing mental health awareness and breaking down the stigma of mental illness in the Black community. I'm your host, Dr. Int Joy, and I'm here to help you transform life's challenges into opportunities for joy. Let's begin the journey together. Hello. Welcome to episode 85, Loving Me First. Prioritizing you while being everything to everyone. As you know, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. We're always thinking about love and who's our Valentine and who we're going to go on a date with. And if we marry, we're going to go out with our spouse and just getting all excited and stuff. But we're going to focus on self-love, because how are we going to love anybody else if we don't love ourselves? So this is why I am focusing on loving me first, and particularly for the wife, mom, boss. Yeah, I said it. Those WMBs out there. We're going to focus on the wife, mom, boss. Why? Because I am a wife, mom, boss. And just for like several years since being a mom and a wife, I've just been having this feeling of like, it's really difficult to describe, but overwhelm slash burnout slash compassion slash empowerment slash fulfillment slash all of those things together. So it's like being a wife, mom, boss is definitely like a juggle between fulfillment and living in your purpose, and then also doing all those things you can do to try to prevent burnout. So, wife, mom, bosses. And speaking of wife, mom, bosses, if you are a wife and a mom and a boss lady, please do register for the free unfiltered chat that's going to take place on February 17th at 7 o'clock via Zoom, because it is unfiltered. We're going to talk about whatever it is we deal with as wife, mom, bosses, and just try to see what we can do to be able to reduce the burnout and the stress just from being pulled from one side to the next side and the other person. And you might ask, well, what about the mom bosses? Y'all working hard too. Y'all working hard too. At a certain point, you still just ask yourself, what needs to happen next? At a certain point, the wife mom bosses, we got to ask our husbands. We still got yet another person that we need to deal with and ask, hey, is this okay? Outside of the people who are single. So anyway, being a wife, mom, and a boss, it comes with its struggles, but it also comes with its fulfillment too. Like I said, it's a juggle between being fulfilled and feeling great, but then also the stress, because it feels good to feel like you can do it all, right? I mean, I know I feel good those days when I'm being able to multitask and, oh, I did this and I also called this patient and I did the billing and then I saw this other patient and then I also took the kids and I did this and then I also helped my husband do that. And it's like, ooh, I'm just doing it all. So there's something about that where you feel like it feels great to do, but then in all of that, you kind of lose yourself. And so it's a matter of feeling like you're making sure you're prioritizing you and all that. It is nice to make sure you're taking care of all that and feeling fulfilled and successful in doing all those things, but don't lose yourself. And I kind of feel like I've gotten a good grasp on it. That's why I feel like, hey, if I have a good grasp on this wife, mom, boss situation, then maybe I should tell you all what it is that you can do to be able to prioritize you, because that is important. It's not selfish. The way take care of everybody else is to take care of yourself first. And how you gonna take care of yourself without some self-love? If you don't love yourself, first of all, don't nobody gonna wanna be around you. But if you don't love yourself, why you gonna care about yourself? So, what is it about yourself that you don't like about your thoughts or being with yourself? Start to get used to that. Self-reflect. Self-love is actually a mindset of thinking about, I am worthy. I'm worthy of this love. Do you have that mindset that you are worthy of putting yourself first? And when you get to prioritizing yourself, that's the decision. So self love is the mindset. And actually making the decision, I choose me, prioritizing yourself. And then when you choose yourself, you turn it into self care. That's the action. So you got the mindset, then you make the decision, and then the action is to actually take care of yourself. I take care of me. Thank you for your comment. Someone said you're in a new role at work and you're struggling with doing that and being a boss lady and also a mama and a wife. Girl, I'm telling you, it can be a struggle, but you can learn to balance it. Just thinking about my day today. So, what are my Thursdays like? So, when it comes to the kids, I have a 2, 4, and a 13-year-old. And, m so I have a great husband. Let's not knock what my husband does. He's very supportive. I do recognize that in some marriages, you feel like you're a single mom in a marriage. Ooh, okay. We can address that too. But I do have a supportive husband. We kinda take places, who's gonna take the kids to school. 13-year-old gets on the bus, 2 and 4-year-old, we gotta drop him off. So Thursdays, that's his day to drop them off. So I get up, I 6:30 in the morning, get the kids ready, the toddler just jumps into whining mode because that's what toddlers do. And once they out of the house, I work out. I get on the Peloton. But guess what I would like to do? I would like to sleep because wouldn't that be nice? But then I know that it's going to be difficult for me to work out later in the day. So I make sure I work out because I also know that I need to work out at least every day or at least every other day. I try to do Sunday through Thursday. Sometimes I skip Friday, which actually can be some issues because I feel like if I skip more than 2 days, that's when my stress comes. So Thursday morning, I got in a full 60-minute workout this morning on Peloton, doing the boot camp, strength training and running. It felt good. And then husband comes home, he works from home, then I start working. It was going well, going good. And then, I don't know, just things with being the boss lady, just work. It just tried to creep in, and there's this always constant struggle of fighting off stress and being able to maintain that stress, because there was a certain point in my day where my heart just started beating really fast. I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what's going on?" I had to take a pause to figure out what is going on, what is stressing me out. I had my workout. I'm like, "Why am I stressed out? I had my workout." Well, continue your daily routine, but that doesn't mean that you're just not going to be susceptible to any stress. So I had to take a pause and realize what was going on. I said, okay, I saw these 5 emails that came at once while I was on a meeting, in addition to another issue that came at the same time. So I was like, oh, all these tasks are coming at me at once. So let me take a breather. I'll take one email at a time after I focus on the meeting, because if you're trying to focus on multiple things at once when you need to be present in a meeting, maybe you should focus on that meeting. So I said, let me get done with this meeting, then let me prioritize these emails. And then I also did some grounding, some deep breathing, and just kind of like looking at the sky, grounding, like engaging your senses. So prioritizing you in the midst of all of this, right? So prioritizing you doesn't always mean, let me just leave my job and focus on me. I already had the workout. I already did all that. I already filled my cup, but then some stress was still trying to creep in. But you need to have like little parts of your day be about that self love. And if knowing the warning signs, I noticed my heart was racing. My heart don't race like that. So I said something was wrong. So recognizing that and noticing that that is a warning sign, so that I knew that I needed to take a pause and try to figure out why is my heart doing this? And once I figured it out, I was able to slow it down and do the next thing. And like I said, I have a wonderful supportive husband. So he actually picked up the kids too, and he took them to the bouncy house. They're there right now. So that's really nice. But it's truly important to do those things. And why are we even having this conversation? It's because there are different obstacles when it comes to being able to prioritize yourself and practice the self-love as a wife, mom, boss. What is that? What is that obstacle? One of them is guilt. We just get guilty when it comes to prioritizing us. I say all the time to my friends when I'm out, I'm like, the the mom guilt and the wife guilt is getting to me, y'all. I think I need to go home. And I've also noticed that if my husband isn't at home just chilling with the kids doing nothing, I feel better about my mom wife guilt. Like if I see, because we track each other. If I see that they out having fun while I'm with the girls, and I'm like, okay, cool, my guilt level's down. But why do I get that way? I don't think he has that kind of guilt. Why do we have that guilt? Why do we feel like we have to be everywhere for everyone at all times while also taking care of ourselves? Because if you are actually practicing that self care and hanging out with your girls, your sorority sisters, or a work event that's having fun, and you are constantly feeling guilty about where you should be, you're not actually able to let loose and relax. You're just constantly worrying. It's just another task to check off, like, okay, let me show up at this event, let me show up with these girls, and then you feeling guilty. It is okay to prioritize you. And if prioritizing you is hanging with the girls, that is okay. But that guilt is real. It still gets to us and it still can stop us from doing things. Maybe there's a conversation you have to have with your spouse about that. Like, "Hey, why don't you go out and do some things?" And then you putting in the deposit into the bank, and then you can withdraw that later so that he was able to go out and do some things. So now it's your turn to go out and do some things. And we do that, my husband and I. He has his guy trips and I have some girl trips, or I go out and do this, or he does his baseball while I go out and do something else. So it's a matter of having that communication because you can't just go and do these things because somebody gonna have to watch the kids. So, obviously, Imma get to later about that support system because also you need some time with the husband too, and that's where it feels kinda like stretched thin. Because I definitely have had days where I just feel like I need to have quality time with each person in my family, even just now. The reason why I didn't go live right at 7 is because I was watching Lost with my 13-year-old. He's like, "When are we gonna watch Lost?" And he's just so excited. I love watching that show with him. It's so nice. And I'm just like, "Well, let me prioritize you real quick so that we can watch the show." And actually, that's prioritizing me because I do enjoy watching that too. And without guilt, be late on the podcast. That's okay. There's no pressure as far as being on time for that. But then after I spend time with him, then I feel like, "Okay, well, wait, the husband's gonna get jealous because now I'm spending all this time watching Lost with 13-year-old. I gotta make sure I spend time with him, and then after I spend time with him, I need to make sure I get in something for me." So it can get a lot. It's like, "Well, geez, where does it stop?" I'm just constantly but organizing and having a schedule of when you do these things can be important. If you're not like a scheduler like that and scheduling things and planning things too much gets to you, makes you more stressed, then that's different. I know for me, I do fill in my schedule quite a bit. Like if you look at my calendar, I do have like things filled in like that, but not every single thing. But it's nice that, having a routine and knowing what you do on a consistent basis so that you are able to get in that routine and get in that quality time with each member of your house. So that's just number 1. Feeling the guilt is what gets to us. Number 2, ooh, the lack of time. How we gonna have time? How we gonna have time to put in and prioritize ourselves, Dr. Enjoy? There's no time in the day, especially for my boss ladies that are out there only sleeping 3 hours a night. I honestly please do watch this podcast because I don't know how you sleeping 3 hours a night, but then you bossing it out, that's for sure. But I am so curious about your schedule. But just feeling like you have no room for me time. That's definitely an obstacle. There is always time. It's 24 hours a day. There is always time. So it's a matter of analyzing your day, and especially if you're the boss, there's hopefully some people that you're over. And if you're the boss and you're the only one, and I'm talking to myself with this, then it's a matter of who do you need to hire so that you can get back your time. As far as my W-2 job, I do have people under me. So I do a lot of delegating so that I can be able to have time that I need to do those things that only I can do. In my private practice, it's a solo private practice. It's just me. I do all the bills, I do all the calling, I do all the front desk stuff, I do all the scheduling, I do everything. So I know I need to get an assistant at some point, but at this time, I don't have one. So it's a matter of figuring out, where you can get the time to get that back for you. But if you need to delegate, that's where it comes in at. People pleasing, struggling to say no. We just feel like we have to do it all and that nobody else can do it but us. There's also this strong Black woman mentality of, oh, yeah, I'm strong, I'm resilient. I mean, we're in Black History Month, thinking back to the slavery days. Black women were made to be strong and go through the challenges and do everything and not say no. So that kind of trickles down into where we are now, and we need to change that narrative. It's okay to say no. And I talk a lot about self-care, and I'm consistently talking about boundaries and saying no. It's okay to say no. And sometimes I wonder, does that mean saying no to yourself? Because there are certain things that I would like to do that I feel like would be too stressful, and so maybe I shouldn't. So sometimes there's things you have to say no to yourself and figure out the less stress path. So being a people pleaser is stressful because you are not feeling like that you can say no. And maybe it's not saying no, maybe you're saying yes, but later. I did have somebody on my podcast that said that it's okay to say yes, but it doesn't have to be right now. Just say yes, but later. And that later don't have to be tomorrow. It can be months later. But why are you a people pleaser? Why do you feel like you can't say no? Because if you're saying yes to everything, you saying no to something else anyway. That's where it comes to priorities. And ask yourself, are you prioritizing yourself? You have dependents, so you're not prioritizing yourself to the point where you are neglecting those dependents. We're not talking about that. Now, I wanted to use this example. So my 4-year-old had a program this morning, and I think it was a Valentine's program. I don't even know. I don't even know what kind of program it was. Guess why? Because I wasn't there. I literally told my husband yesterday when he said, "Hey, Legends having a program tomorrow at 8:30." And I thought to myself, "Well, 8:30 on a Thursday? That's when I'm working out." And I said, I could make it. I actually don't have an appointment till later in the morning. I could choose to drop the kids off at school instead of my husband. I could take them and then I could stay for the program. I could come back home and then I'd miss my workout. So I literally said to my husband, "Thank you for letting me know about this program that apparently our 4-year-old's singing in. I'm going to choose me. I'm going to choose self care." I literally said that to him. And I meant it. I thought to myself, but Nina, that sounds selfish. But I said, well, I'm practicing what I'm preaching. It's not selfish. And I woke up knowing he had this program. I worked out and it felt great. It felt great. Hey, I wouldn't be human if I didn't feel guilt. I'm not telling you the guilt's not going to be there. The guilt's going to be there. So it was there a little bit, but I still chose me. So that's like a really good example because you just cannot be everything everywhere for these kids. For sure. I'm gonna be at another program, but today, Valentine's program, no. Did he get his little 15 treats that the teacher wanted? They always got there's always something. Oh, bring the little chocolates at 15. We're just like, oh my gosh. It's like y'all forcing us. We don't even want to. But then if we don't, and he not gonna be able to participate in the Valentine's Day stuff, then he gonna be mad at us why he didn't get a basket full of chocolates because we didn't participate. So some things is kind of like I feel like it's a force, but it's okay. That stuff is, I guess, cheap. So anyway, he did get that, but no, I did not attend the program. So do you struggle to say no? Maybe we should change that. Number 4, perfectionism. Just trying to do it all. And oh my goodness. I don't know if I struggle from perfectionism, like being perfect, but I do struggle with being great and doing great things. Like when I hear about someone doing something great, I'm just like, "Oh, that's contagious. If you can do that great thing, I can do it too. If you can start a podcast, I can start a podcast. If you have a talk show, I can start a talk show. If you wrote a book, I can write a book." It's literally how I think. The reason why I am consistently running marathons is because someone else ran 100 marathons, half marathons. I'm not running 100 full marathons. So I was like, "Well, you can run 100 half marathons. I can run 100 half marathons." So a lot of us have this complex where we're just like, "Oh, I can do it all." Of course, with certain goals, it's not like you're doing all at one time. I can incorporate when I'm running and when I'm training, and I can budget in the cost of the registration, and that race happens and it's done, and then the next race. But sometimes we want to do it all at once, which is very difficult because you don't have a clone and you can't be everywhere at once. But ask yourself, do you really need to do that thing? Yes, I do. Well, okay, no, I don't need to run 100 half marathons, but will I feel fulfilled? Is anything really getting neglected? That's actually a self-care thing. So why shouldn't I? Why not? Do I really need to go to that sorority event last Friday? What was last Friday? It was Pink Goes Red. I wanted to go, but I can't do it all. No, so I did not go to Pink Goes Red because I chose my family. And I've been doing a lot when it comes to my business, my brand, my podcast, my book, going to fairs and things like that. And so last weekend, there was no wait, did I have a race? Yeah, no, there was no race last weekend. There was no book fair. There was nothing for my brand, nothing, nothing. So I was just like, I am going to devote that to my family. My husband's real happy. I wasn't even on call. I didn't have to see any patients last weekend. So that was really nice. So, and it's something somebody tried to creep in. They said, "Well, are you available Saturday?" Blah blah. No, no, I am not. I'm putting my family first. So sometimes that no and doing it all, you have to prioritize yourself, and then it's like prioritizing your family, and trying to make sure you're not at the point where you're prioritizing work so much over your family. Because I got big visions and big passions and stuff. So it's sometimes I have to balance that and realize, "Oops, I think I'm spending too much time with my passion. Let me get back to the family." But then, as the boss lady, maybe you're the breadwinner. Maybe you have to try to work a lot so that you're bringing in the money for the family. And so there's still a thin line between that, working too much and trying to actually bring in the money, but also be able to spend quality time with your family. That's usually issues with the man, right? As the breadwinner and the person that brings in the money, and then therefore the wife is with the kids. In my situation, I'm doing all of that and with the kids, but then my husband's with the kids. Our roles are definitely flipped. They're flipped. We love it. We love it. It doesn't bother us, doesn't bother him. But he does a great job with the kids. There are certain things that he doesn't do that I would like for him to do, and there's things that I don't do that he would like for me to do. But it works out, it works out. Okay, so perfectionism and trying to do it all, that is another challenge or obstacle. The last and 5th challenge is lack of support. Ooh-wee. Oh my goodness. Get you some support. Mom, wife, boss, lady. You need to get you some support if you don't have it. That is the way that I am able to be a wife, mom, boss, and be as successful that I am. Like I said, my husband is amazing. His job is very flexible. He works remote. He's just really great at daddying. He will change the stinky diaper. He gets up in the middle of the night. He constantly worries about the house in a good way, right? He's constantly the financial advisor, whether I'm the breadwinner or not. He is the advisor of the house, tells, like how we should spend money and what we should do. He's the reason my loans were forgiven. I wasn't even thinking about filling out some type of application and calling places and things like that. That he is very supportive, and then not my grandmothers, the kids' grandmothers, my mom and his mom are here, and whenever we would like to go on a date or if we're both doing something and we need someone to watch the kids, the grandmas are here. So if you don't have extended family, like I said, you're a boss lady, so you got the money. Hire a nanny, hire an assistant, hire somebody. There's somebody that can help watch your kids. You have that resource. Just look and find it, and once you find it and once you're comfortable with whoever's gonna watch your kids, then it's done. You done found somebody. So it's extremely important to get the support that you need in order to be able to have time for you. The times that I go and I just run and I'm just able to be free and just reset and meditate and plan and ground and do all the things that I do when I'm running, it's just fantastic. And help your spouse do that too. If he's gonna help you prioritize you and have the space to be able to do what you need to do for your me time or your self-care, you need to do that in return. That's a part of being a wife, mom, boss is it's that give and take and enjoy doing it because happy spouse, happy house. When you happy, he's happy. When he's happy, you're happy. And don't try to get to the point where he needs to be the one to make you happy. That's why we need our mindset to be changed, that self-love, going back to loving you first and being able to know what you need to create joy for you so that you're not just relying on him because he is human. And if there are times where he's just not giving you that joy and then you gonna blame him for not giving you joy, no. If you have that outlet, running, praying, and then you get that joy back, now you can go back and have that energy to bring him that joy that you wanted him to give you. And so if you have that energy to bring him that joy, maybe that's what he needed in order to have the joy to give to you. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? It's about changing our mindset, not thinking about, oh, what he needs to be doing. So, as we get through, we talked about the things, the obstacles that we have as a wife, mom, boss that gets away in our self-care and our self-love. Self-prioritization is not selfish. It's necessary because if you're going to be everything to everyone and try to do it all, you have to prioritize yourself first. It sounds like a contradiction, but it is the case. So, set one small but firm boundary this week. Think about something that you need to do this week that you need to set a boundary on. So start right away. Why even take time or be slow to even do that? Start right away. Schedule some me time, like it's a meeting. Somebody was talking about finances at my last event and said that, when it comes to looking at your business and making sure everything's working out right, schedule time called minding my business. And I'm like, oh, that's a good idea because there's usually a lot of things on my list that I have to do that I don't get to. I got quite a few lists. So when you schedule minding my business, you're working on your business, trying to see what's the next steps to get a successful business. Well, the same way, you need to schedule time for you. So when is your me time meeting? And schedule a me time meeting every day. I don't have that penciled in, but I know when Imma get it. It's either gonna be in the morning, like on Wednesdays and Thursdays, or it's gonna be at night, like on Mondays and Tuesdays, I get my me time. It's usually after they go to sleep. I honestly it is difficult to get it when the kids are awake. If you know that, then do it when they're not awake or when they're out of the house. There are times where I can get me time when they're awake, when my husband's with them, and I go upstairs, I rest a little. I notice he does that. But schedule it in. If you can't just find the time, schedule it in. Say, "This is my me time, and this is when you're gonna focus on you," and do that. I managed to get my nails done today after everything that I was doing. I was still working. I was just like, "Wait a minute. This isn't real me time if I'm working." So I put my phone down and I relaxed. I closed my eyes and felt that massage. So do that for sure. And so implement a 5-minute self-care ritual. So in addition to that me time, implement a 5-minute self-love ritual. Maybe that's what you do during that me time. But what are you gonna do that is self-love? Is self-love literally a positive affirmation for you to say, "I am beautiful. I am amazing." I recently started using cocoa butter. I don't know why cocoa butter is so hard. You know that the real African cocoa butter is hard. Like I didn't grow up using that. And I have to literally rub it in. It takes minutes. It usually takes me like 2 seconds to put lotion on. But I decided since I ran out of my lotion, I'm gonna use this hard cocoa butter. So rub it in, rub it in, rub it in. I rub it all over my body and I rub it over my feet. And it takes 5 minutes. That sounds like a little bit of time, but that's a long time when it comes to just only spending that time putting on lotion. I guess you can see that I don't spend a lot of time on me when it comes to moisturizing myself, but now I do. And I tell myself, this is self-love. This is self-care. So every time I go into that 5 minute, I guess that's my 5 minute self-love ritual. I say that to myself and it makes me feel better that I'm spending so much time doing it. And guess what? When I went to get my feet done, that lady didn't have to spend that much time with the callus remover because I've been self-loving myself with those cocoa butter moisturizer. There we go. Speak to yourself with the same love you give to others. You're so nice to them kids. Or maybe not all the time. We all know that parenting is stressful. But for the most part, you nice to them kids. You say nice things to those kids. And hopefully you're saying nice things to your husband. And you say nice things to your friend. You say nice things to your parents. Do the same for you. So when you prioritize you and trying to be everything to everybody else, do that to you first. Ask yourself before you do something for somebody else, did I do something for myself? Did I do a self-love practice today? Did I do a self-care practice today? Am I prioritizing me? Because when you are not prioritizing you, you welcome stress, you welcome burnout, you welcome your ability to be susceptible to mental illnesses like anxiety and depression or ADHD. I have ADHD, but on the days that I practice self-care and self-love, that ADHD is nowhere to be found. So do that for yourself so that you're not turn into different things like food and comfort eating and drugs or alcohol and smoking. That happens too. Those are warning signs. What are your warning signs that you may be burnt out or stressed or leading down a road to a mental health disorder and needing professional support? Thank you for listening. I want you all to know that I have an Elevate Your Joy growth group. Yes, for wise mom boss ladies. And it's a 12-week group starting March 7th, 12 to 1. You can register in the event section on my website, www.drenjoylife.com. It is $50 a session or $550 if you pay up front. I will be at the Atlanta Black Expo, woohoo, Sunday, February 23rd, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you use the code NJOY, enjoy, you receive $5 off. And guess what? If you register for the Elevate Your Joy Growth Group at the event, you'll receive a free Enjoyno that I will sign. Are you not a wife, mom, boss, but you want to do a growth group too? There is also a growth group for you that starts on March 7th as well, and that will be at 1:15 p.m. 12-week program. Want more information? Reach out to me. Thank you for listening. This has been an Enjoy Life production. If you're in a crisis, don't hesitate. Call, text, or chat 988 for immediate support. Please note, this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional treatment. If you're looking for therapy or medication management through Enjoy Life, visit www.drenjoylife.com to request a consultation. I accept Aetna for Georgia residents, and out-of-pocket services are available for others. I'm licensed in Georgia, Florida, Michigan, Tennessee, Maryland, Wisconsin, New Hampshire, Illinois, Virginia, and Minnesota. Be sure to grab your copy of the Enjoyno on Amazon for $39.08 to help you on your wellness journey. And remember, Journey to Joy Live is every Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, may you continue to transform challenges into joy.